This video is specifically about zone control, or the operation of these valves right here. These valves are staged on and off by the demand capacity from the Johnson Controls input signal. And to explain that a little further, we're now going to go to a training video that I put together on site for some facilities engineers. And since the recording will be in a live environment, there's some pretty good background noise. The mechanical room has some large air handlers in them that are making a bit of noise, so please accept my apologies.
So there's 4 zones that put mist. Look at this. Huh? Wow. There they are over there, those blue little things. Each zone has 2 solenoids on it. So each zone goes out into the air handler. One goes in. Let's say it has 2 nozzles in it. I'm just making this up. Next one that goes in will have 4 nozzles in it. Next one that goes in will have 6 nozzles in it. Next one that goes in will have 8. There we are. So if you add that up, that's 20. 8, 6, 14, 18, 20. So that's if all those nozzles were on, and there's more than that in there, there's actually 50 in there. If all those nozzles are on, we'd be at 100%. And what happens is that goes on in stages. First stage is 2 nozzles, 10% is on. Second stage is 4 nozzles, now we got 20% that's on. Third stage is 6 nozzles, now we got 30% on. This one's 40%. Now when this one's on, we bring on this one and this one, we got 50%. We bring on this one and this one, we got 60%. This one and this one, 70%. This one, and that one, 80%. This one, 90%. This one, 100%. So it just stages up all of those 4 things. This overlaps them until you get to 100%. And so that's done through the controller, and it stages on those zones depending on what Rick gives it, demand he gives it. So that's how we get some capacity control on it. There's actually more to it than that. As far as capacity control, and we'll get into that as we go on. So, there's the 4 lines that go up, and this thing does go 1 through 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. One of the other units that I did a better job on is they're labeled.
So why is there 2 solenoids on each?
Well, one of them is the lets the water in. That's where it's actually a good question. It lets the water in. The other one's a dump valve. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this line right here, over here.
Oh, okay. It's common to all.
It's common to all of them. It's a dump valve.
Here's a side view of those solenoid valves, and here's the 4 zones that go out. 1, 2, 3, 4 down here. And then the dump line is this line that's hard to see right in here, connected all together. Goes up here. Then when it gets to the top one, it actually tees off horizontally and then turns up vertically and goes this way. So that's the one that dumps the water out when the zones shut on and off. And then here's a picture of the 4 lines and the dump line above the unit itself. And 1, 2, 3, 4. And then here's the dump line, and you can see how the dump line goes past the 4 lines that go into the unit and goes up higher here. Here's where the 4 zone lines go into the air handler itself. And this is where it goes across the unit. Here's the line right there. And you can see that it goes right up the top of the unit, and then it turns up and goes up, and then turns, goes vertical and then horizontal, and then goes into this PVC tubing. And that's where it just actually goes into the top of the tubing, and it's open, and it just goes in there an inch or 2. And that's where you have this inverted trap, but it prevents, when it does dump, it prevents it from siphoning out, because this is the highest point of air, an air point, And so nothing can siphon any further than that. If this particular line went all the way down to the floor when you open up the solenoid valve, it could siphon the whole zone out. So we don't want that to happen. So that's where you've got this inverted trap and to prevent it from siphoning. Here's a little closer look, and then here's another closer look yet where that's 3/8 inch stainless tube 3/8 inch stainless steel tube going into a 1 inch, maybe even a 3/4 inch PVC line. And then this PVC line, as you can see here, goes to drain. And again, when this does dump, you're only dumping a small amount of water, only about 2 or 3 ounces of water at the most.
So when one of these stages gets shut off, there's high pressure in that line. And you can't just let that high pressure sit there, it will slowly bleed off. So these two solenoids, one's normally open, one's normally closed. So when you energize it, the one that goes out to a zone turns on, the dump valve closes off. As soon as you de-energize both of them, the one that goes out the zone turns off and the dump valve turns on, and it takes the high pressure water, I'm going to say 1,000 psi, that's max, and kind of dumps it to drain. Now it does it very quickly. This line is solid water, and the drain comes out over here in this gray line over here. And so if you've got a solid column of water in this little line, it just takes a little spitful of water to dump it to 1,000 psi, to 0. So we're not like we're wasting a lot of water.
Is that attached directly to the drain, or does it just blow it out?
Yeah, it goes up here, it goes up there, attaches to this gray line over here.
Okay.
Yeah, and goes down. Now if you look up there, you can see that that line goes up a little bit, a foot comes in, and then the tail of the stainless steel pipe actually goes in there and just lays in there. That's so we don't get a siphon feed. Because all these lines go up that high, well, in order to dump this, we want to go up there and dump it, but we don't want to bring that line all the way down the drain, because then it would want to siphon each zone as it did. So it's open up there to drain, and that prevents it from siphoning.
All you're doing is dumping the pressure, not the water.
All you're doing is dumping the pressure. Yeah. And that's more of a safety thing than anything else. That if you lose power, they all dump. That normally open on that side.
Well, how long would that pressure leave out of the
How long does it take to dump?
I mean, how long would the pressure go down?
If you didn't dump it, well, it would go down to, that's a good question, it would go down to about 300 psi, and then there is built-in check valves in each one of the nozzles. Here's 4 or 5 nozzles up here, for example, and each one of them has a little ball valve with a spring check in it, and then it's got a little orifice or a little pin in it to kind of swirl the water around as it comes in. And then here's the nozzle and its tip. So that goes in there, and there's spring pressure on it when you put it back together. And there's different size springs. This one happens to be, and most of them are, around 300 psi. So if you didn't dump it, it would it'd still have 300 psi on it. Yep. All right. So, now let me here. Grab a couple and pass them around and open them up. Take a look at them if you want. Oh, go ahead. Water. So that's how the zoning works in it.
A few finishing words on zone control. I talked about the 10 stages of humidification using 4 zones. In the training seminar, I used 2 zones, 2 nozzles per zone. Here I talked about 10 stages with 4 zones. Let's look at it a little differently. Let's say there was 1 nozzle on the first zone, 2 nozzles on zone 2, 3 nozzles on zone 3, and 4 nozzles on zone 4. If you add those up, that's 10 nozzles. If you bring each zone in one at a time, then start to overlap those zones until you have all of them on, you have 10 stages. And that concept is demonstrated right up here in these 4 different squares. When I zoom in here, you can see this is humidification stages, zone 1s through zone 4. You bring each stage on individually, 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%. Each one of these would have a red light on it when it is on. As soon as you get to stage 4, the red light's on. Then you bring on zone 1 again. Now you're on stage 5 or 50%. Then you shut off stage 1, turn on stage 2, you're at 60%. Shut off stage 2, turn on stage 3, 70%. That's all with stage 4 on all the time. Shut off stage 3, turn on stage 1, you've got 80%. Shut off stage 1, turn on stage 2, you've got 90%. Turn on all 4 zones and you've got 100% of capacity. And this JCI demand input would match these stage lights that are on. As this rises from 10 to 100%, you would see these stages match the capacity that's shown on this, or the demand that's shown on this display. So that's it. That's all I wanted to show you. I will get in more detailed depth of zoning. We'll just call it advanced zoning at some time here in the near future, but this is the basics. And again, that'll do it for now. Thanks for listening. Bye.